Hello. Hi.
Hi there, how are you?
Good. Jennifer and I were just giggling in the green room backstage, so to speak, before today's interview. I am super excited to have her on here. I've mentioned to my LinkedIn family and friends for a while now that I wanted to host a December doing it series where I could bring the various different corporate badasses that I have been working with for several years and really just celebrate their leadership and the amazing things that they were doing at their organization. And I had to start this series with none other than Jennifer Fisher. So I'm super excited to have you here today. Thank you, Jennifer.
Oh, well, thank you so much for hosting me today. This is just such an honor, and clearly a huge congratulations goes out to you today because it is a special day of your book launch, your inaugural book launch. And I know there'll be many more, but I'm so happy to be able to celebrate this with you.
Thank you. I will definitely leave a comment for any of you all that want to purchase the book. We're offering the book for 99 cents on Kindle this week only, because I really need to get this book into as many hands as possible so that we can just spread this mission and get more and more women promoted to the C-suite each and every year. So I'm just so
Phenomenal.
grateful for that support.
Oh.
And Jennifer is actually included in the introduction to the book as well. So when you purchase your copy, you're going to be able to hear a little bit more about Jennifer's transformation and the story and her leadership journey over the past couple of years. So
Oh my gosh. And thank you, Stacy, too. It was fun reading that. And your whole book has been amazing. I've thoroughly enjoyed reading it. Just such great actionable advice for everybody. It's fabulous.
Awesome. So I want to get started by introducing you. So could you introduce yourself a little bit for everyone?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So I am Jennifer Fisher. I am the Senior Vice President of Sales and Account Management for World Strides Higher Education. I have been in this role now for just about a year as the Senior Vice President, but I've been at World Strides for about 7.5 years. I reached out to you, Stacy, gosh, it's probably 2.5 years ago. And honestly, you just have transformed my life. It's been amazing. And seeing all the work that you've done with me to help me succeed and help me to be successful and be a better leader where I can make really an impact on my team and help them make an impact has just been so humbling and so amazing. And I'm so honored to know you and work with you.
Yeah, thank you. And I feel like I love that you said that because the title of my book is Promotions Made Easy. The work that I do is I coach women to take ownership of their career, to get themselves in higher leadership positions. And what you're also sharing is that it has actually made you a better senior vice president. It has made you a better leader for your team. And what we're going to celebrate today is the impact that you're really making. Not really like just because of the title, like it happened even before you got your big promotion, and really the shifts that you started to make, because you're just a total, I mean, absolutely corporate badass. Actually, that's the couple paragraphs in the book. I say an example of a corporate badass is Jennifer Fisher. So
I love that.
so let's start out with sharing a little bit more about your particular leadership style and how you really think about how you show up as a leader at your organization.
Absolutely. I would probably say my leadership role that I do and kind of like who I am as a leader is really tied into being that visionary. I want to be able to set the stage so that people can see not only what's happening right now, but what we can accomplish in the future, what we can accomplish by working together. And so really tailoring the visionary approach with obviously effective communication. I mean, I think that's one of the number one things of a leader to be successful is you have to be able to effectively communicate your strategy and your vision. And so when you put those two together and really impact the team to let them be empowered and go out and make the changes, I mean, that's what it's all about. It's like, sometimes I always say, I just kind of get out of their way, right? I get the tools that they need and the resources they need, and I get out of the way because my team is so phenomenal. and just setting that vision for them to see that they can accomplish anything.
This is so important because what you're describing sounds really perfect in the best of times, but obviously we haven't been in the best of times over the last couple of years. And I really truly believe that this visionary approach is something that has been with you for a very long time, even before we met. And really, you wanted always to be this visionary leader, the person that painted that picture of what was possible. Definitely from day one when I met you, that you were always about possibility and not focusing on what's not working, but how we can change it. And so how did having this leadership philosophy really help you and your team succeed over the last couple of years throughout this pandemic?
So very, very good question. And I will say, obviously, it's been a tough time. My industry is obviously higher education, which clearly was hit hard, obviously during the pandemic. But not only higher education is international travel. So we basically we work with universities to develop and design study abroad programs. So our business came to a halt real fast. It hit a brick wall. And that was hard. It was very hard. And obviously, just like any other, travel businesses, educational businesses, we had massive layoffs. We've had a lot of struggles. I mean, our business was not there anymore. And so helping the team continue on and show them that they still have a purpose here, even though there is no landscape in some cases, or it's just completely different, but there's a reason to keep going, that our universities are looking to us to help them lead the way. And so constantly painting that picture of what we need to do and pulling the team together, because it was tough. We're all working at home. So by the time you flip off your computer and you go and watch the news, oh my gosh, the news is, the world is ending and all this horrible stuff is happening day in and day out. It's a lot to bear. So be able to help people see their potential, understand why we need them in the positions that they're in, and how they can help their university partners was just so important. It's all about controlling what you can control and continue moving forward together.
Absolutely. I love what you said about how the impact that your team is making on universities, right? I can see that students need to think about the future, right? Like they need to hope that they're going to be able to do their study abroad programs, right? And it's so important that you're able to continue and cultivate those relationships even in challenging times. And I know that some of the work that you did was also offering like educational resources and work really that partner with those universities and just helping them see. So I feel like your impact, okay, so you're an amazing leader to your team. You're leading universities and helping them see what's possible, an incredible leader for your organization. So as you've been able to step in and be that position of influence, really being able to show even your CEO what is possible and like lay it out for them. Like I feel like you're just like, no, not only is this a future vision, but actually, you know what, guys, we're already doing it.
That's right. That's right. And it's so true. It's like we are doing this. And sometimes you just have to point that out to people, because it's so easy to just get bogged down in the weight of the world. But you have to help them say, like, you're already doing this and you're doing an amazing job at this. We're heading down the path. We are offering free resources for our university partners, right? Like anything we can do to help them, we're in this together. And that gives everybody that sense of purpose that, we're here together working through this. And it's just so important.
Yeah, absolutely. And that idea of partnership, and it really is the future and the present, right? It's like the thing that we had to cling on to during these past couple of years. And now I feel like hopefully it will become the new normal of leadership. Yeah.
Absolutely,
So in
absolutely.
terms of the great resignation, so that's the other thing that we're kind of dealing with now. And I know that you've been working with your team and encouraging them as, now we have a whole new set of challenges facing leadership. Can you talk about anything that you've done to empower your team throughout the Great Resignation and how you're showing up as an executive?
Absolutely. And again, this great resignation is real. It is a thing. And not just, my area, not just my company, many companies across the country are dealing with this. And it is hard because as people are leaving, and we're not able to hire them back fast enough. We're looking, right? And we're trying to hire, but all that work goes on to other people. So again, the team members are just feeling the weight of the world on their shoulders and thinking, oh my gosh. And so it was really about working with them, pulling them together in daily huddle ups and saying, listen, we can only do what we can do. Mm-hmm. You know what? Let's not worry about all these things that we have to do. We're going to have to pick and choose right now because we're not Superman, right? Not Superwoman. We can't just, click a finger and have everything done. We've got to focus on what is going to give us the biggest impact. And some of these other things we're going to have to let go of. And at the end of the day, there's 8 hours in a work day. You need to be able to go home, need to be with your family. You need to decompress. And all we can do is the best that we can do in those 8 hours, be there for each other and focus on the right activities for the right outcomes. And you know what? That's what you can control. And so part of what I always felt like when people feel really frustrated, really hopeless, really like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. It's in a sense, not realizing that they've given up their power. They've given it up and everyone's out of my control. They're giving up. And that's not the case. You have it all within you. You have the power. And that power right now is deciding, you know what? I don't need to be at all these meetings that I keep getting pulled into. So you have the power to say, you know what? I'm not going to make these meetings. I'm going to focus on this work and that work. And you've got your 8 hour window and you're going to get your stuff done in your 8 hours and you're going to go home and you're going to have a great time relaxing with your family. And that is all that we can do at this point. And hearing that, when the team members would hear that from me, I think it made them feel very empowered. And I'm not asking them to continue doing everything that we've always done. We can't. It doesn't make sense right now. So again, controlling what you can control, focusing on what you can control, and then we're going to do that to the best of our abilities.
That's amazing. And the only way that you can do any of that is if you have that big vision, if you know what your true north is as a team. And so, like your benchmarks and where you're headed and where you're going as an organization, so that you can actually decide, okay, this meeting right now is not a priority. These other things are a priority. And so that way you're empowering your team to pick and choose.
That's right. Absolutely.
It sounds like you're a great leader by example.
well, I'm doing better at that myself. I do have a tendency to continue doing work because part of me is I absolutely love what I do. Not only do I love sales, I love that I get to do my craft at an amazing company at World Strides, right? So I feel like I'm doubly blessed. And so for me, that passion and excitement is very hard to turn off. And I get great joy out of continuing my work. And so my poor husband is like, well, at the beginning, just turn that computer off, but it's because I love what I do. So I've been able to, work with you, kind of work through some of my balances to say, okay, you know what, I can kind of turn this off right now and go have a glass of wine and sit down.
This is so good, though. I want everybody listening to really think about what Jennifer is suggesting, though. So she started this conversation with talking about her leadership style as being, this visionary leader, the person that paints a picture of what's possible and focus on what we can control, right? So that's her leadership style. And what she isn't going to do, though, even if she's opening her laptop in the middle of the night, right? What she isn't going to do is be in the weeds in the middle of the night, right?
That's
so
right.
She's spending thought time thinking about the problems, coming up with solutions at nighttime, right? Rather than just being in the weeds and focusing on all of the problems and like trying to solve every little thing herself. She's thinking about that bigger picture, and that is actually showing her what's possible, right? So that's actually telling her and keeping her motivated in that higher level way, so that she can still be with this beautiful smile on her face, right? So it's
That's
like,
right.
otherwise you're like, you're going to be a burned out leader, right? And it's like,
Absolutely.
that's not what we're looking to do here at
Yeah.
all.
And that doesn't help anybody, right? So
No.
you cannot get yourself burned out, because you're going to be of no use to your team or yourself or your company. So you cannot do
Amazing.
that.
Yes, exactly. So can you tell us a little bit about why you feel motivated to have a seat at the table? So I'm already hearing a lot of it, but I'd love to share.
Absolutely. And for me, it really is about making an impact. And I look at that impact in a couple different ways. It's making an impact with the team, helping them feel empowered, helping them feel good about what they're doing. And my goal is always to have them be successful. So there's that impact, but then also knowing the true outcome and the impact that we're making in our university space. So if I've got these motivated, empowered team members, they're going to go out and do amazing things, right? And that's going to be helping our university partners and really partnering with them. And so that all comes full circle. So making that impact both internally with our teams and externally, with our partners outside of World Strides is huge. And knowing that, I have that ability and I'm kind of empowered to do that myself is just very humbling. And I take it with great responsibility that I'm here to really help make a difference.
Do you
Help.
feel like as you have climbed up a little bit, do you feel like you're able to make that impact even more in the position that you're in right now?
I do. Fully I do. And part of that really goes back to, my boss, my chief business officer, Matt Wertz, my CEO. They all are empowering me. Like they trust me and they're seeing me as this impactful leader. So they're letting me go and say, hey, you can do this. And I tell you, it feels amazing. I mean,
Yeah, and I see this trickle down, because then that's how you're leading your team. You're empowering them, and then I know that you're also empowering other sales teams all across your organization, worldwide even. And then I also had a vision of the trickle down effect of going, to these universities. You're talking about the universities, but what about the universities' impact? And then what about those students that get to travel abroad again?
Oh
And
my gosh.
it's just like, this is why we do what we do, right?
It is. It's so true, And when we started getting some programs and some study abroad students out this past fall, I mean, there were high fives in our departments. We're like, this is what we do.
Yes!
Like, this is why we do what we do. And the students, are coming up to some of my team members who are traveling with them. And they were just like, this is transforming my whole life. I never thought I would see this, or I never thought I would feel this way. I totally get this now. And I mean, people were coming back, from traveling with the study abroad students and saying, oh my gosh, like, this is why we do what we do. And
right, because some of your team actually gets to go travel with them, right?
That's right. That's right.
So exciting.
Yep, it was. And I think it's just what we needed kind of coming out of that pandemic. Like, you know what, this is why we're here. This is what we're doing. And that feels good.
Oh, I love it. So one of the other things that you've been able to accomplish now that you have this seat at the table, now that you're really able to make the impact at work that you want to make, is you have transitioned into spreading your own thought leadership. And I would love to let everybody know how they can find you and follow your podcast and everything that you do. And I'm just super excited for this next level of impact that you're going to be able to start making.
Yes, thank you so much. So yes, I started a podcast, A Life You Love, Sales Tips with Jennifer Fisher. And I can't believe it'll be a year in January that I've been running this podcast. So it's amazing. I have a ball with it, and it was one of those things too, where, originally I started out, something just for fun, because things were kind of crazy with COVID and trying to find ways to keep engaged and focus on good things. And so I was doing it more, I don't want to say for selfish reasons, but it was more just for me, right? I was just kind of something I was doing, but it has turned really into the impact I'm now making in the sales community. And wow, it's amazing. And so now I really feel like I'm doing this to really help sales leaders, new sales team members. Like, I'm helping them with their sales craft. And that is such a big impact that I'm thrilled with. So I would love for you to check out the podcast. So it is, and again, aptly titled, A Life You Love, because I do feel that, again, I'm so fortunate. I love everything that I do. I love sales. I love my work at World Strides, and just very blessed. So yes, so A Life You Love, Sales Tips with Jennifer Fisher.
I love how, I know you also had a son living at home at the time. And so it was like, I have some extra help. He can help me create the graphics or whatever for the podcast, figure out how to set this up. But really,
yes.
It's interesting because I think that if we think too much about that global impact that your podcast is going to make, right? Like what is actually doing now, what is actually happening through your leadership? Like, I know the women in Australia are reaching out to you and saying, Jennifer, you're impacting my career. Like, you're such an inspiration. Yeah. If we spend too much energy on that place, it can almost be paralyzing. Like that's like ultimately what we want. Right. But it's like, it's a little hard to start something from that place. Yes. But what you did is you just started it from fun and joy and love. And then it turned into that. And I just think that's such a great reminder for anybody listening in terms of leadership. Like, we really want to be Jennifer Fisher. Like, we really do. But we don't have to think so much about that. What we can do is just start. Start today with exactly who we are, our flaws and everything. And just take those first steps towards leadership or thought leadership or whatever that impact is that we want to start making. Just start doing it today.
That's right.
And then it does start to blossom out when you follow your love and when you follow your passions.
That's really right. And one of the other big things I've learned in that process is that if it makes you feel really uncomfortable and you're like, oh, I can't do it. That's the green light. Go and do it, right?
Oh my God, this is in my book. I talk about if your 3X vision, like where you want to be three promotions from now, like really the top of the top of the top. If it makes your stomach hurt, then you should totally do it.
I know, exactly. And that's when you're like, go forward, do it.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, I'll go back and I'll add in some comments so people can follow your podcast. Anything else that you'd like to share before we say goodbye today?
No, just mainly a huge thank you to you, Stacey. What you did for me and what I know you do for many, many, many other women, because I'm part of all your groups, is phenomenal. You are truly making a difference out there and you are changing lives. And that has just got to be an incredible feeling. And I just want to say thank you. And I want to say congratulations again on your amazing book launch.
Oh, thank you. That means so much on book launch day. This is the perfect day to celebrate.
So excited to share this day with you.
Thank you again. Take care.
Thank you, Stacey. Take care.